4 in 10 people believe in ghosts. Over a third of people believe intelligent life exists outside of Earth. 43% of people believe demons exist. There are unexplained phenomena happening daily around the globe, and we are here to talk about it. Your portal into UFOs, paranormal, cryptids, the supernatural, the mysterious, the unknown. I see you. This is Beyond the Radar, and this is your host, Humanoid Tom Conway.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome to another wonderful episode of Beyond the Radar, your paranormal news program. I hope everyone's having a great weekend. New time for everybody. New time. Thank you for joining me over here at this particular time. I appreciate the moving over as we readjust and massage the schedule here for the Oracle Talk Radio Network. And thank you again for tuning in to wherever you're from, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble. You can listen to us on the Oracle Talk Radio Network app as well. Many of you have started downloading that. It's wonderful. We're approaching over 100 downloads for our app. So thank you so much for listening to our content. And listen to us next day if you can't hear us or you miss an episode on Spreaker, or you can subscribe to our Patreon for past episodes. We have a great show for you tonight, as many of you, in case you haven't heard, we have a wonderful show about the UAP hearings that happened on the 13th, which was Wednesday. A lot of good information came out there. If you were listening for it, a lot of good information came out. Let me say it that way. We had a lot of people, initial reactions, oh, we didn't hear anything, we didn't learn anything. And for the most part, if you just take it at surface value and you listen to what everybody was talking about sitting down and, in the hearing itself, yeah, there maybe was not a lot that was discussed there, but oh boy, if you read the paperwork and you read what was behind some of these things, the Immaculate Constellation, and I'm going to call it the Constellation. Hopefully I don't say Conception. Ugh, you guys can correct me if I say that. And also everybody's summary and everybody who was up on the panel, I believe should have been there. I believe have the best intentions. And it was different. It was different than the one with David Grush and David Fravor and all of those. And here's why, is because that was groundbreaking. The first one was groundbreaking, and we can't expect all of that kind of groundbreaking news to come out of every single one here. What these gentlemen went up there and did, said, and in their military experience, we've seen firsthand, we've heard first or secondhand, we know these things are out there and they are violating, keyword violating, our airspace. That's huge, because that means we can't do anything to them, even if we wanted to. And that's the hard part. That's the part that stinks. There's a lot that we were going to get into tonight. We're going to do a lot of great information. We're going to do a lot of great things here, tonight. I have the Immaculate Constellation report. I'm going to read that a little later. I've made some videos for the Oracle Talk Radio Network TikTok that we're going to get into, and we're going to talk about and discuss. And we're going to break down this actual report here of the Immaculate Constellation and let you know some of the things that they have that I've never seen and you've never seen, because one of the big news that came out of this is that they have their own government internet network. They have their own secure transfer protocol, really, of only internet, only for government officials, that they can send these things back and forth, or whatever documents they need to send back and forth. It doesn't have to be just for UFOs. That was the biggest thing to come out. A secondary big thing takeaway to me at the top of this, to kick everything off, is there was a little bit of I heard a little bit of a rumbling of the shadow government. And what I mean by that is some of these people, Lou Elizondo in particular, came out and said, I don't know if this is somebody else in the military the CIA or private contractors, but if these are from them, they can beat any one of our stuff. They can destroy any one of our ships, our craft, whatever you want to call it. I find that fascinating because if we're the biggest military might on the planet, how is a private contractor, your company, Joe's UFOs is down the street, has technology better than yours? Have we fallen that far? Have we fallen that far in our military might that a private contractor can do these things? I understand the rules are different. I understand there's disclosure in the government and you have to find out what people are paying for, but you're not doing that. You're not doing that already. You're not doing that at all. You have all of these budgetary items that aren't proven. You've never passed an audit. The federal government has never passed an audit of where the money is for these things. That's all you need to know. So let's get into the gentlemen who were up there talking. I'm going to get into them. I'm going to discuss a little bit about them because we need to know who these people are before we dissect anything that they have to say. So here we have Tim Gallaudet, Rear Admiral, retired U.S. Navy Chief Executive Officer of Ocean Still Consulting. He considers the study of UAPs and USOs, which is unidentified submersible objects, to be scientifically valid and critical to national security. He has emphasized the need for serious scientific inquiry into these phenomena. And during his time in the Navy, Dr. Gallaudet encountered incidents involving UAPs, such as the Go Fast, which was a big topic of conversation in last year's whistleblower testimony case, which showed an unidentified flying object exhibiting flight characteristics unlike any other aircraft. Big news, America. He's seen firsthand. He's a doctor. He's a rear admiral. He's retired. He's seen some stuff, and he put his 2 cents into this case. Next, we're going to have Lou Elizondo. Lou Elizondo is an author and former Department of Defense official. Elizondo firmly believes that the UAPs are real and represent advanced technologies not made by any known government, and has testified before Congress emphasizing that these phenomena are being monitored around sensitive military installations globally. He views UAPs as a significant national security concern. Elizondo pointed out that UAPs have been observed interfering with nuclear capabilities and operating controlled U.S. airspace with impunity. Big word, impunity. We're next down the line. We're going to get, I'm sorry, not down the line, fourth in the line, Michael Gold, who's a former NASA Associate Administrator of Space Policy and Partnerships and a member of the NASA UAP Independent Study Team. Gold advocates for a scientific approach to studying UAPs, and he believes NASA can play a crucial role in collecting and disseminating data on UAPs due to its extensive experience in aviation safety and data management. And it's highlighted that NASA could serve a similar role for civilian and commercial operators as the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or ARROW, which does for national security community. This involves systematic collecting and analyzing of UAP data to ensure comprehensive coverage of this understanding. And finally, up there, we got Michael Schellenberger, the founder of Public. Schellenberger believes that the U.S. government, particularly the Pentagon and the intelligence community, is withholding critical information about UAPs from Congress and the public. He accused these entities of operating with excessive secrecy and failing to fulfill their constitutional duties of transparency. He emphasizes that the UAP transparency is crucial for national security. Schellenberger has called the bipartisan efforts to ensure that all UAP-related programs are disclosed to Congress, and that any undisclosed programs should have their funding cut. So those are the gentlemen behind this who were testifying in front of Congress. All of them took time out of their days to push this envelope. And I specifically held Schellenberger for last because with him, I think he's going about it the right way to get transparency. And bear with me for a minute. I'm going to explain that. What he did was, the public are peons. Let me put it that way. Public are peons. They don't care about us. They don't really think we deserve to know any type of information there. But when he puts it in the way that, hey, they're holding it from you, from Congress, the ego on the government, that's going to I think that's going to do very, very well. I think that's going to do very well. And I think that's going to highlight such a key point in this that you guys don't even know what's under your own roof. And one thing, if we know anything about the US government, is they don't want to look stupid. They want an answer for everything. They want to make sure everything is good, on the up and up, legit, you name it, whatever you want to call it. So if, when he's saying, hey, they're not telling you everything, how do you think that's going to resonate? Doesn't matter about which side of the aisle you're on. It's bipartisan. You are not in control of information, and we know the government needs to be in control of information. So I think he's using that tactic in the most positive way he can. In the most positive way he can. And I really think that's the method that we need to use and go forward with when we talk to Congress about these certain issues. So that's the little setup right there before we get into anything. That's the little setup right there about who these gentlemen are and who they are in Congress. So I've pre-taped a couple of segments here about reading, which I got a copy of. It's right here next to me. It's printed out over here on my paper over here. I got a copy of the Immaculate Constellation document. And for you, America, of course, I'm going to read it. Joe, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Joe, oh man, love you. You know, when I made this special time, Joe, I kept you in mind because I know sometimes you work late, and I wanted to make sure it was on later when you had a chance. But Joe, listen, I'm going to start reading the Immaculate Constellation report that I got from a friend. I'll keep his source name private, but listen to some of this stuff, guys. I'm gonna play part one here. The Immaculate Constellation. The Immaculate Constellation is an unknown special access program, or USAP, established following the public disclosure of ATIP and AAW, ALSAP, programs by Luis Elizondo in 2017. Upon disclosure to Congress, it was determined that this was USAP and its collateral information have not been lawfully reported to Congress. The Immaculate Constellation's primary mission is collecting imagery intelligence on UAPs and ARVs, utilizing test and untested military intelligence and resources. As a part of a network of SAPs linked to non-human intelligence and UAP technologies, Immaculate Constellation acts as a nexus for collecting, analyzing, and disseminating intelligence on the activities, capabilities, and locations of anomalous aerospace threats that originate from foreign or identified sources. The intelligence within the Immaculate Constellation program primarily consists of high-quality imagery intelligence, or IMINT, collateral measurement and signatures intelligence, MASINT, of UAPs and ARVs within the Earth's atmosphere. The collection of platforms involved are a blend of test and untested capabilities in low Earth orbit, or LEO. The upper atmosphere, military and civilian aviation altitudes, and maritime environments, the Immaculate Constellation pays particular attention to the anomalous aerospace platforms that have been developed through the study or acquisition of technologies of unknown origin by foreign nations or unknown entities. UAP and ARV/RV signatures are preferred operating areas that are known in the program, enabling a degree of specific and strategic awareness. Finally, the Immaculate Constellation shows that the UAP and ARVs are operating around the globe in close proximity to sensitive foreign assets and locations. The categorization of Immaculate Constellation as a parent USAP or USAP with various child SAPs under its umbrella indicates a high level of compartmentalization and secrecy. In the effect, the Immaculate Constellation serves as a central or parent USAP that consolidates observations of UAP and ARV activities detected by test and untested collection platforms. Sophisticated internal information security controls are a major part of the Immaculate Constellation program, which enforces compartmentalization by detecting, quarantining, and transferring UAP and RV imagery collection incidents before they are circulated within the military intelligence enterprise. In conclusion, the Immaculate Constellation shows that the U.S. government is not only aware of UAPs and TUOs, but also foreign states' efforts to replicate UAPs and TUO capabilities. The data within the Immaculate Constellation reveals the capacity of the United States Armed Services and military intelligence community to detect, track, identify, and engage in anomalous transmedium platforms. Immaculate Constellation also demonstrates the extent a capability of quarantining and transferring UAP and RV collections incidents before they are observed and circulated within the military intelligence enterprise, partially explaining why many otherwise cleared members of the military and IC or intelligence community were unaware of UAP activities. Finally, the existence of the Immaculate Constellation provides a verifiable evidence of the winning participation by elements of the United States Armed Services, Defense Civil Service, and the intelligence community in a global surveillance and reconnaissance mission tasked with monitoring UAPs and ARVs. So, thank you, everybody. That was the first part of that. And I got 3 parts here. So, I wanted to break it down and talk in between a little bit of it rather than just rambling on the whole damn thing. So, one of the abbreviations, because there's a lot of abbreviations in there, just to help everybody out listening. UAP, Unidentified Anomalous Phenomenon. TUO, Technologies of Unknown Origin. And NHI, which is Non-Human Intelligences. That became a big one. Well, the investigation here into the project Immaculate Constellation revealed that parts of the U.S. executive branch has been handling these issues without congressional oversight, possibly for decades. The report includes evidence from various sources such as imagery intelligence, human intelligence, and signal intelligence showing the existence and activities of unidentified anomalous phenomena and non-human intelligences. So that's a quick summary about the first part there. It is a secret program. And just so we want a definition, I know we all love definitions. I love giving definitions. The Immaculate Constellation is a secret program collecting high quality imagery and other intelligences on UAPs and reproduction vehicles, ARVs and RVs. And most importantly, in that first category, everybody, it shows that the United States has the capability to detect, track, and engage these phenomena. So there's a lot to unpack with that last sentence there. UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon, and non-human intelligences. Lights we see in the sky, aliens, UFOs, all that kind of good stuff. But they acknowledged reproduction vehicles, ARV and RV. Reproduction vehicles, re-engineered vehicles. They just admitted in that first paragraph or that first page and a half of we have replicated this vehicle. We have replicated these vehicles, maybe not just us, but other countries. But at least all we can talk about is our own backyard and what we know and what we saw and what we investigated, America. We have reproduced these vehicles. Keep that in mind when you hear the rest of this stuff. We have replicated these vehicles. This is a highly secret government, Veritas per fidem, scientific igne probata. That's Latin. That's printed on all government documents at the bottom. This is a verified document. Shout out to my source because this is absolutely wonderful information. So we have vehicles that we don't know that are non-human intelligence. We have reproduced vehicles, and we have the ability to detect, track, and engage. Engage. We can interact with it. We can go to it. We can see it. What do we see when we think of the military? You think of like the F-16, the B-2 stealth bomber. You think of an Osprey helicopter. You think they're letting you know, America, that we have the ability to engage with these things. A lot was said in that first paragraph. A lot was not said in that, page and a half. A lot was not said in that first page and a half. So let's move on to the next one. The United States government maintains imagery intelligence databases accessible to personnel with appropriate security clearances and mission need. These databases are secured and scattered across various organizations and services, leading to a fragmented ownership structure. Dispersion complicates the timely and comprehensive gathering of IMINT or intelligence imagery related to UAPs. Control over access to these databases primarily reside in the military intelligence enterprise, the combatant commands, and the armed services and the individual program managers. The IMINT has collected data sets available to the DoD and reviewed for this report, providing compelling evidence for UAP which defy prosaic explanations. There are a large number of unique imagery sensors available to the U.S. government and intelligence community, including but not limited to infrared, forward-looking infrared FLIR, full motion video, thermal, still photography. The magnitude of wavelengths collected by these sensors have captured UAP characteristics that are difficult or impossible to observe with the human eye alone. Subtle atmospheric effects associated with the UAPs are visible through sensors employed by the U.S. military intelligence community, enabling the unique analytic techniques. The verifiable chain of custody for UAP imagery collected by the U.S. government assets ensures a high level of confidence in the accuracy and the integrity of the data gathered. Here are the following examples. So I just paused that one right there. I'll play it in a little bit. But when you have this, we need to know how they're tracking these things. So how they're tracking it of these UAPs is imagery intelligence, which they define as IMINT, or imagery intelligence, IMINT. What are they talking about with that? IR, so infrared, heat signatures, forward-looking infrared, or FLIR. How you've seen your basic cryptid shows, and they have the little gun that shows the heat signatures out in the field. That's forward-looking infrared, or FLIR. Full motion video, FMV. So somebody taking it from their cell phone, a camera, dashboard cam, military vehicle cam, what have you. Thermal video or thermal pictures, heat signature pictures, and also still photography, so basic pictures. I wanted to make sure everybody knows those 5 things of how they develop and they track these. So infrared, forward-looking infrared, full motion video, thermal and still imaging. And my most exciting part, America, please watch this. I'm going to give you examples. These are examples named in the U.S. Immaculate Constellation report. So I'm going to play that now. Get your popcorn ready. Listen to these. CENTCOM cuboid formation of metallic objects. In the United States government networks, there exists a daytime full motion video and daytime FLIR of a formation of 12 metallic objects skipping the ocean's surface at high speeds before disappearing into multiple directions. The rapid and agile movement and maneuvering of these metallic orbs were incompatible with the known aerospace vehicles that were between 3 to 5 meters in diameter. In the opening segment of the footage, the roughly 12 metallic orbs flew in a tight cuboid formation. The metallic orbs were 3 vertical square formations of about 4 orbs each, arranged in a 3-pronged configuration, creating the illusion of a cube at a distance. All of the orbs were white hot against the black, cold ocean in the FLIR footage. Each sphere created a faint atmospheric distortion bound around itself as a heat shimmer contrail. CENTCOM's fast mover observed transitioning over sensitive facilities. In the United States government network, there exists a FLIR footage of small, medium, oval UAP flying at high speed and low to the surface. This footage begins the routine surveillance of sensitive coastal facilities. When the oval UAP makes a rapidly comes into frame, it flies above the coastal facilities. The UAP then makes a rapid turn towards the ocean, where it is tracked by the collection platform, and the oval UAP is tracked flying low over the ocean at high speeds before it is lost. All right. So those first 2, the cuboid formation signifies that these UAPs are working in groups, and maybe this was even an exercise for them, where they were 12 4x3 rows of orbs flying. This was called on FLIR, or forward-looking infrared, of white hot balls and a heat shimmering contrail. So you understood that there was heat coming off of these things going in a cube formation across the water. And this was evidenced by the black, the cold of the ocean, and then the white hot of the orbs right there. A tight cuboid, 3 to 6 meters in diameter, so roughly 10 to 20 feet. Small, if they were occupied, because we don't know if these are a drone or if these were, actually manned alien aircraft. That would probably be a single, maybe a double, I don't know. But FLIR footage that the government caught over their own water on their technology on the U.S. government network or secret internet network. So that's the first one. We'll get to, here's the next one. INDOPACOM, intelligence vessel positioned to collect on a reproduction vehicle. the United States government network. There exists infrared footage of imagery of a grouping of vessels engaged in SIG-INT and MASS-INT collections at night in a specific area of the Pacific Ocean. In this footage, which appears to be close proximity to the vessels, a large equilateral triangle, the UAP suddenly appears directly over the ships. 3 bright points are seen at the bottom of the corner of the UAP, which is observed in a slowly rotating horizontal axis. This rotation particularly and partially reveals a horizon bar of sweeping lights. The intelligence analyst associated with this event specifies that the equilateral triangle of the reproduction vehicle. Indo-PA-COM, equilateral triangle UAP tails, unwitting vessel. On the United States network, there exists infrared footage of an equilateral triangle UAP, approximately fighter jet size, hovering less than 200 meters from above vessel in the night at the location at the Pacific. In the Pacific, intelligence agencies associated this event that specifies what the equilateral triangle is an AR/RV of unknown origin. Indo-PACOM, large disk using clouds as concealment on U.S. Got a little carried away with that one there. But the production vehicle, the reproduction vehicle, we have a UAP over one of our own reproduction vehicles, um, checking it out almost like a decoy, checking it out, seeing if it how it works. We have it hovering 5,000 to a meters above the ocean. It suddenly disappears, and the footage ends at the end of it. Then moving on to the UAP tails unwitting vessel, the infrared of a 200 meter above the vessel UAP fighter jet size, so 30, 40 feet, um, associated with this event. An equilateral triangle is an ARV of unknown origin. So we have a reproduction of the reproduction of an unknown vehicle, an unknown origin, which means it's not ours. Wow, that is fascinating. Next up is the Indopa large disk using clouds of concealment. I'm going to play that one now. Pacific intelligence agencies associated this event that specifies what the equilateral triangle is an AR/RV of unknown origin. Indo-PACOM, large disk using clouds as concealment. On U.S. government networks, there exists OPIR footage of a large saucer-shaped UAP emerging from a dense cloud formation. The saucer is registered black hot against a white cold, with atmospheric disturbances caused by a saucer shape of the UAP being visible. This saucer is about 200 to 400 meters in circumference and displays symmetrical concavities in the upper surface. Indo-PACOM boomerang UAP observed by. So yeah, Ian, good to see you, man. Good to see you checking in. We are seeing more and more orbs lately. We are seeing more and more orbs lately. We actually talked about this, and for anyone who hasn't heard, we did a wonderful special counting out to Halloween, 50 states, 50 UFO stories. And one of the key themes in that Ian, myself, and Tyler Johnson, another host of the Nerd Informer, uh, that you can almost categorize these into time or decades. Maybe not directly on the decade, but certainly in the time frames of different shapes correlating with different times of the year. We had our saucers that came around for a while. We had our cigar shapes that came around for a while. We had our triangles that came around for a while, and maybe this time, orbs are what's in, what's the selling model out on the showroom floor, I guess. But one of the intelligence things that I wanted to talk about too with this Indopod disk is it's using clouds as concealment. It knows how to hide. It knows when we see it and when we can't see it. It has to have some sort of thought process behind or knowledge of human beings and how humans um, view the world because it's using it as it's using it as a shield to see it. With the FLIR, black hot against white cold, that was the only way to see it was that imagery. And yeah, yeah, I'm glad the orbs made it to Congress. They did. They're around now. I mean, specifically, even the Tic Tac is a form of an orb. Even it's just not small enough. But Go Fast, I believe, was an orb that was up and out of the water, up down, up down, up down, like it was nothing. Definitely some sort of anti-gravity material, element 115, if you are a Bob Lazar fan, which I am. I would love to get him on. Oh my God. I would share it with everyone. Um, And Joe, I have my lifetime, 50 years of experience, experienced nothing. Well, Joe, um, keep waiting. And I've only had one basic sighting when I was 10 years old. I told that story many times. Uh, I believe, you know, but I think you're right. If you saw something at this point in your life, you would believe that much more. It's fascinating. So let's get to the next one here. Pilot sensor. On U.S. government networks, there exists FLIR footage of a swept boomerang UAP maneuvering at uncertain altitudes at a location off the eastern coast of a country. The UAP is tracked against the clouds by the sensor suite of the operating craft. The UAP is observed repeatedly decelerating to a stationary hover, followed by sudden emission of the sphere of light from the junction of which two wings expand partially to engulf the craft in a rotating sphere, and then at that point, the footage ends. That's a wild one. So we got off the eastern coast of a country. So it's not our country because these have mentioned the United States. So it's not our country. United States government, there exists FLIR footage of a swept boomerang. So the curved boomerang, and it's maneuvering at an uncertain altitude off the location of the eastern coast. It's tracked against the clouds and by the sensor suite of the operating craft. So this was also measured by either another pilot or a naval vessel. What's very, very cool about this is it rapidly decelerates to a stationary hover, followed by the emission of a sphere of light from the junction of the two wings. So this thing had to have had wings, or what they call wings, and expands to engulf the craft into a ball of light, at which point the footage ends. So it actually went into a sort of cloaking way where it just turned into light and you couldn't see the craft anymore. I thought that was fascinating. Joe, keep the faith. We'll go see one together, man. You're near me. We'll go out. We'll see one. Grab a case. It'll be a good time. Um, the the next one. The next one's the big one. We all heard about the jellyfish in Afghanistan and Iraq. You didn't hear about the second jellyfish at the US Mexico border. I'm about to declassify that now. Northcom jellyfish UAP crosses the US Mexico border. A different UAP, everyone. On US government networks, there exists a FLIR footage of an irregularly shaped UAP flying across the southern border. The UAP appeared in FLIR to be modeled against irregularities and cold, hot emissions at approximately jellyfish or floating brain, in quotes it says here, with hanging appendages. In the appearance, the UAP flew against the wind and no visible means of propulsion, maintained an unnatural rigidity in its movements in a flight path, and maintained a comparative low altitude against geographic figures. In appearance and behavior, footage of this UAP violating the airspace of the southern border resembles the same class of UAP observed near DoD facilities in Iraq and Afghanistan. These exist at least one compilation video of this class of UAP sourced from the DoD Force Protection Assets and Theater ISR. Northcom. Oh, wow. Did you hear that, everyone? Did you hear that? A second jellyfish that people are watching. I'm so excited about it. I have to show you right verbatim. Do you see that, people? Do you see that right there? Can I zoom in? Just open file. I'm just going to open the file so you guys can see it. It'd be better that way. So everybody can see this. I'll zoom in on it. How about that? Well, I tried. It's not wanting to come up. Let me get it. Try it again. There we are. There we go. Now that's better. You all can see that. Look at that. FLIR footage, regular shape UFE. It's modeled in irregularity, hot cold emissions, a jellyfish, or a floating brain with hanging appendages in appearance. Right there, America. Right there. And look at this sentence down here. There exists at least one compilation video of this class of UAP sourced from DoD Force Protection Assets and Theater ISR. Isn't that fascinating? That is absolutely fascinating. There's another jellyfish out there. There's another jellyfish UAP out there that we've never heard before. And getting back to Ian, if we were talking about that, maybe the next class will be this jellyfish, these hanging tentacle type appendages from a centralized brain, or mechanical arms that, would, be used to carry tasks out for these things. Who knows? But let's finish out this second one with a couple of Tic Tacs and range fowlers. Supersonic range fowler intercepts USN fighter. On U.S. government networks, there exists a FLIR footage of radar data of a supersonic UAP on certain characteristics conducting a head-on interception of a USN fighter off the eastern seaboard. The UAP is observed emerging from a cloud bank at a high speed, approaching the USN aircraft head-on, rapidly passing over the left side of the cockpit. Radar data from this approach tracks the UAP and its approach towards the craft, providing information on speed, heading, and elevation. And finally, Southcom Tic Tac detected by space asset in proximity of vessel on United States government networks. There exists an OPIR image of the MASINT of a Tic Tac UAP transitioning through the area of the Atlantic Ocean. The Tic Tac maneuvers at an altitude near local cloud cover, and correlated electromagnetic structures were collected by the MASINT. In the available footage, the Tic Tac UAP transits rapidly through the field of regard as it transits the ocean. No observed reaction seen coming from the vessel, but its proximity in time and space to the trajectory of the UAP suggests foreknowledge of the UAP event by intelligence. All right. So those were the examples listed here in the Immaculate Constellation of probably the best. They're not going to start with something small. It's probably the best data that they have. Let's be honest with that. But I got to tell you, these things, there's no need for them to be covered up from. I can almost understand covering it up from the American public, right? You have the hysteria, you have keeping people's thoughts in check. You have you don't want to admit that there's something you don't know. I can understand. I don't agree with it, but I can understand it. Why are they keeping it from each other? Why are they keeping it from separate branches of the military, people who have dedicated their lives to defending our country, from active soldiers all the way up to intelligence community? They're holding it from them. Is this even a government thing? Or is this private contractors or some other form of the government that was created specifically for this? Very wonderful idea to speculate on, because the answers are probably as fun to think about as the theories, to be honest with you. So let me go ahead and I'm going to play our commercial here. Break. We'll take a little commercial break. And then when I come back, we'll do the third reading and a couple TikToks and, talk about this groundbreaking stuff.
Four in 10 people believe in ghosts. Over a third of people believe intelligent life exists outside of Earth. 43% of you believe demons exist. We invite you to Beyond the Radar, your paranormal news show. If it's unexplained phenomena happening daily around the globe, we're talking about it. Exploring the unexplained, challenging the conventional, and diving deep into the shadows that lurk just beyond our perception. Come join the transmission on the United Public Radio Network. Once you come, you'll never be the same.
Meet Daniel Knight, a psychologist with an extraordinary gift to absorb and heal the deepest wounds of the mind. In the heart of a chilling investigation, every secret unraveled binds him closer to darkness. But as he delves into the psyche of a killer, his own demons emerge. Caught in a battle within and against an evil that seeks to exploit his powers, where the line between savior and victim blurs. Dare to heal the wounds of the mind. Healer. Read it today.
Do you want to reach millions with your product or service? Are you looking to connect with a diverse, intelligent, and engaged audience? Then look no further. Beyond the Radar radio show is your golden ticket to achieving just that. Our listeners are curious, open-minded, and always eager to learn. They value quality, authenticity, and innovation, just like your brand. With Beyond the Radar, your advertisement will be heard by millions of dedicated listeners. Our show covers a wide range of topics, attracting a diverse audience that could be your next loyal customers. So why wait? Take your brand to Beyond the Radar and into the hearts and minds of millions. Advertise with us. Let's explore the extraordinary together. Beyond the Radar radio show, where your brand meets a world of curious minds. Contact us today for advertising opportunities at www.beyondtheradarnews.com and fill out our contact form. We hope to talk to you soon.
Samantha survives a tragic accident thanks to Lucian, an enigmatic being. Her newfound abilities catch the attention of a secretive government agency. Drawn to Lucian despite the danger, Samantha is unaware of his true identity. She teams up with Lucian's brothers in a daring mission to rescue him. Accused unfairly, Lucian seeks refuge on his distant homeworld. Can Samantha prove Lucian's innocence and save their forbidden love? From the Sky by J.E. Nicasio. Available now. Get your copy on Amazon and BNN.
Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered what lies beyond? Have you ever felt a sense of curiosity about mysterious lights darting across the sky? If so, my UFO 101 Unveiling the Unknown course is just for you. This course is a comprehensive introduction into the fascinating world of unidentified flying objects and extraterrestrial life. It is designed for beginners, so no prior knowledge is required. I am your instructor, Tom. I am an author, podcast host, and seasoned researcher in the field ready to debunk common myths and misconceptions. So are you ready to embark on an exciting journey to unravel the secrets of the universe? Join us at UFO 101 Unveiling the Unknown, and let's explore the unknown together. Don't let this free opportunity fly away. Enroll now and start your journey into the intriguing world of UFOs and extraterrestrial life.
The Chasing Prophecy radio show, where we discuss everything and anything beyond the scope of normal. Hosted by Jenny Nicasio and Tom Conway, Chasing Prophecy is your premier destination for all things paranormal. Tune in Thursdays at 8 p.m., only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. The Nerd Informer podcast, hosted by Ian Harrelling and Tyler Johnson. An informative look at the world around us and expert discussions on some of the world's greatest mysteries. Tune in Wednesdays at 7 p.m., only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Richard. And together, we are the Stay Off My Lawn Show and Podcast.
And together we tackle the important political issues from the week.
We'll also have smart and maybe not so smart audio clips from our elected officials.
And have way too much fun in the process.
So tune in to Stay Off My Lawn every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Right here on the Oracle Talk Radio Network.
Welcome back, everyone. Your host, Tom, back here with Beyond the Radar. I love those guys from Stay Off My Lawn. You got to listen to them. It's conservative, so, take that in mind. But when you listen to them, it's just, it's where I want to be at that age and just talking nonsense and having fun with your buddy. It's a great show. They have great chemistry. And they do, here's something. They do like comedy commercials. They do fake commercials, and it's some of the products they come up with are really, really funny. And that is movie stuff, and that is, yeah, it has to be amazing to see in person. I mean, think about it. You sign up for one thing in the military, you're out on the ship for God knows how long. You're used to staring off into black water, um, darker than the night sky, and then you see this stuff. Man, that has to be fascinating. One thing I wanted to get into before I do the third reading is they the Immaculate Constellation Report has 7 characteristics of UFOs or UAPs. They classify them, I should say, into 7 different ones. So the first one is the sphere or an orb. They have a disc. Saucer is number 2. Oval or tic tac is number 3. Triangular is number 4. Boomerang or arrowhead is number 5. They have, I guess it's a catch-all, is irregular slash organic, um, which would be the jellyfish type. The boomerang or arrowhead, these are referred to as roughly the F-16 sizes. Um, but I can't remember the boomerang arrowhead. Uh, I can visualize it, but I really haven't heard too many of that. I really haven't. Um, so let's get into this third reading I got here, going on about signals for and intelligence. NSA report published in 1978 that the existence and content of this report was verified by accessing the appropriate intelligence archives. The substance of the report seems concern scientific research in the Soviet Union on the topics of parapsychology, psi, and biological effects of the UAP on human beings. Additionally, the existence of this reporting stream demonstrates the U.S. intelligence was explicitly tasked to collect on foreign entities active in areas often relegated to the fringes of scientific research, including parapsychology and the biological effects of encounters with UAP. The fact that significant intelligence resources were dedicated to understanding and exploiting information related to the UAPs and NHIs highlight a strategic commitment to understanding the full scope of UAP, NHI, and TUOs. These and other classified accounts provide a rare glimpse and reveal the contours of a secretive, decades-long competition between major terrestrial powers to collect, exploit, and field technologies derived from the study of UAP and NHI. And Section 6, Signals Intelligence. A substantial body of sensitive signals intelligence collected over peer and near-peer countries demonstrate the foreign awareness of UAP events occurring over sensitive military and including nuclear weapons facilities. Due to the exceptional sensitive nature of the sources and methods involved, only general conclusions can be provided here, which are: foreign countries are known to have observed UAPs whose signatures and behaviors correlate to the same ones that do in the United States. These UAP events are treated by the secretary apparatus of each state as a serious national security threat due to UAP proximity to sensitive military and intelligence facilities. These facilities are most often associated with aerospace defense, strategic deterrence, and military-sponsored scientific research and development. On multiple occasions, each of these nations have attempted to intercept or shoot down UAP, violating their own territorial airspace and airspace over sensitive facilities. Foreign countries have internal organizations dedicated to studying the ambiguous threat posed by UAPs, deducing scientific principles through observing UAPs and those careful management of public perception on the UAP individuals and issues. So yeah, that was the signals intelligence, and from the report you heard that let's break it down. Other countries have observed UAPs, and what they found is similar to what is observed in the United States. The security apparatuses. So whichever department every other country has deals with this apparently the same way, or in the same department that we do. Each on multiple occasions, every nation. So that includes us. And we could have told you that. Ian could have told you that. We read stories about UFO stories being shot at, UFOs being shot, and I think one was killed. But every nation has shot at a UFO. And tried to down it, being unsuccessful. And because they were over such sensitive facilities, they needed to go and make that drastic action. from what this says. And foreign countries have internal organizations dedicated to studying the ambiguous threat posed by UAPs, deducing scientific principles through observing UAP and the careful management of the public perception of the UAP issue. So you have multifaceted approach. You have people who are studying the issue. You have people who are studying the importance on government, and you have the study of keeping it down in the public and not having it get out of hand. Which safe to say we have that going on here as well. So finally, America, I'm going to get to a couple TikToks that I had when I, recorded of the UAP hearing, and these are two of the most important moments that stuck out to me. So I'm going to play these.
Government conducted secret UAP crash retrieval programs, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Were they designed to identify and reverse engineer alien craft, yes or no?
Yes.
Does the U.S. government have any reverse? Okay, we already answered that question about retrieval programs. Do any U.S. contractors have the same?
I would prefer to address that in a closed session, ma'am.
Okay. In your book, you mentioned government employees who've been injured by UAPs, placed on leave, and receiving government compensation for their injuries. Is that correct?
That is correct.
How can the government deny we have recovered craft if they're paying people because they've been injured by recovered craft?
Ma'am, that's a great question. That's why I think we're here again, because I've seen the documentation by the U.S. government for several of these individuals who have sustained injuries as a result of a UAP incident.
It's a crazy idea, right? The hypocrisy and the logic. Okay, Mr. Schellenberger, I'm going to say it again to be very clear. Immaculate Constellation. What's its mission and how are they funded?
Its mission is to, as I stated, its mission is to it's an unacknowledged special access program. Its mission is to document UAPs.
Okay, and do you, for your story and your report, do you have more than one credible source?
I do.
Sourcing, okay.
I do.
And then why do you believe your sources to be credible? How do you judge the veracity of the documentation you've been provided about this program?
I checked the sources, and they are who they say they are. They are current or former government officials. Mm-hmm. I wanted to also add that I did not specify that they were Defense Department employees. I didn't specify the agency nor the gender.
Would they have included non-government employees, people that aren't employed by the government?
These are, I'm comfortable saying that these are government or previously government employees.
Any of them currently employed by a private contractor or private contractors?
I'd rather not say.
Okay. What's the key takeaway, just a few seconds, about the Immaculate Constellation document you provided us today?
I think that what the American people need to know is that the U.S. military and intelligence community are sitting on a huge amount of visual and other information, still photos, video photos, other sensor information, and they have for a very long time. And it's not those fuzzy photos and videos that we've been given. There's very clear
high res,
high resolution.
How many visuals, graphics, videos, photos?
I mean, I've been told hundreds, maybe thousands.
So my colleague's comment, sir.
Genuinely do not know.
Don't know, but we must find out. Okay, thank you. I appreciate those answers, gentlemen. I think this is obviously another remarkable hearing with just really important information, so I thank all of you for answering the questions. Admiral, I just want to go back to one thing. Now, last year, our subcommittee heard from two retired Navy pilots, Lieutenant Ryan Graves and Commander David Fravor, regarding UAPs. Actually, I think Ryan is here in the audience and been a great person to get to know and to have conversations with. He, of course, has been involved in the Safe Airspace for Americans Act with Chairman Graves, with Chairwoman Mace for UAP reporting by civilian aviation personnel. Can you discuss briefly why it's important for civilian pilots to be able to report UAPs and why these legal protections are critical for our national security?
Yes, Congressman, thank you. And I did invite Ryan Graves as my guest, as I'm on his advisory board for the Americans for Safe Aerospace, and legislation that you supported and introduced, I fully support as well. And I think it's important that more civilian pilots, commercial pilots report so we can better understand and learn and do research on UAP, as well as remove the stigma so more citizens report on what they observe. And also it'll only contribute to aviation safety when we have a better understanding of where these UAP are, how they operate, and at what frequency and what capability level. So it's important for aviation safety, and it'll be important for moving science and research forward.
Thank you, sir. And I just want to reiterate to my colleagues, I mean, this is a very bipartisan piece of legislation, and we just got to continue to get this through the Congress. And it's incredibly important that civilian pilots have the opportunity to safely report the UAPs that they are seeing or encountering in the air.
Well, I echo that as well. Civilian pilots have a number of stories. We've went over some of them in other episodes. These are people who, a lot of them actually are ex-military, to be honest with you. You know, they flew and now they have a commercial airline. You know, they fly for a commercial airline. If there's no safe way to report this, at what point does it start to become dangerous? You know, if this is an evolving thing, if there's going to be more and more and more, when does a crash happen? And how are you telling the families, oh, it hit nothing? And then you start the lying because you don't want to say that there was a UAP involved. Bipartisan legislation of having a, you know, reporting, it could be a hotline, it could be a database, it could be whatever, but a way for civilian pilots to not have to worry about their job and also not fear repercussion, you know, being labeled a kook or a crazy or anything like that, um, and be able to do their job effectively. It's something that's been a long time coming. I think there needs to be a way for that to happen, and they need to be able to label this and talk about things that they see in the air without retaliation. And the quicker that happens, the longer or the quicker it'll be before it starts to be trusted and you start having these reports out there. Just my 2 cents. Wow, what an episode, everyone. I want to thank you all for your time. This has been a wonderful episode. I had to get this out there. I had to tell everybody when I got this report of everything going on. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for listening to Beyond the Radar, your paranormal news program. I'm here every Friday from now on, for the foreseeable future, I guess, 9 o'clock at night. And next week we'll have a wonderful guest on. So stay tuned, stay weird, and I hope everybody has a great weekend. Good night, everyone.